A lot has happened in China in February. Here is the most important news put together for you in one video. I'm going to give you all the electric car sales that we know of so far in February. BYD, NIO, Xpeng, Li Auto, SAIC, Wuling Hongwan Mini, all those guys and more. Plus, I'm going to give you 3 really interesting mini reports, the last of which I believe will transform the entire Chinese automotive industry and lead to the final death nail in the coffin of legacy auto in China. And I say that seriously. I think it's going to happen. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. Great to have you here on the channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back to everyone else. Thank you to our Patreon supporters on the channel. Really appreciate what you do. Honestly, we wouldn't be here without you. So big thanks to you. And my new report is coming out, should be tomorrow, for Patreon supporters. Now, if you want to see that report, you can check out our Patreon channel. Jump on the link below and support the channel. Well, I would personally really appreciate that. So what's going on in China? BYD sold nearly 90,000 new energy vehicles. Half of those were electric, half of those were plug-in hybrid. So they sold about 45,000 electric vehicles, around about 45,000 plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, and about 2,000 internal combustion engine vehicles. So they're not producing internal combustion engine vehicles anymore, I don't believe. I think those production lines have stopped. They're just selling off old stock. Good news for BYD. That number is insane, by the way. Last February, the same month of last year, they sold 10,000 plug-in hybrids and 10,000 electric vehicles. And this month, 90,000. Crazy. So they went from 10,000 last year in February to 94,000 in December of last year. February, of course, is the quiet month of the year. So all these numbers are going to seem low, but actually all of them are actually high in comparison to previous Februaries, very high in some cases. For example, BYD sales were up 600% versus last year. Next up, we have NIO, who delivered 6,131 vehicles in February. That's an increase of 10% year on year. That's the smallest increase of any of the car makers I'm going to be talking to you about today versus their sales year on year. Now, one of my favorite cars, the Zeekr 001, that sold 2,916 vehicles in February. Now, it's a brand new car, so we don't have sales numbers from the previous February, but Zeekr is a new automotive brand from the Geely Automotive Group. So, you know, Volvo, Polestar, Zeekr, Lynk & Co, and they have some other brands as well. Zeekr is one of my favorite EVs, the Zeekr 001. If you haven't seen that vehicle, I'll put a link in the description below to my video about the Zeekr 001. Definitely in my top 5 EVs worldwide, so check that one out. Next up, we have Neta. Now, Neta delivered 7,117 EVs in February in China alone. That's an increase of 255% year on year. Neta is, in my view, one of the probably 6 or 7 strongest EV companies worldwide. If you have a look at their delivery figures last year, they're insane. From February onwards, they increased every single month. February, every single month. Every single month we saw an increase in production, in deliveries, in obviously production capacity, and obviously you can see here 255% increase year on year. Incredible. So that means in the first 2 months of this year, Neta has delivered 18,126 electric vehicles, purely electric, by the way. That's an increase of 332% year on year. Now, Neta, in my view, is the best value car maker in the world when it comes to cars, period. In particular, electric cars. I made a video about this, about some of their really compelling products. I'll put a link in the description below to that video. My prediction for this year is that Neta will build at least and deliver at least 160,000 electric cars. Next up, we have GAC Aeon. Now, Aeon is the sub-brand of GAC, one of the big automakers in China. Aeon is their electric-only brand. Aeon sold and delivered 8,526 EVs in February. That's an increase of 163% year on year. Aeon, by the way, make an EV with a 1,100 kilometer range. It's insane. I'll put a link in the description below to the video I made about that car. And yeah, I mean, check it out. It's exciting to see that you can get EVs now. That EV, I think, costs just under $60,000 US for a vehicle with 1,100 kilometers of range. and it's got a 140 kilowatt hour battery pack. Amazing. Now, on February the 18th, GAC Aeon announced the completion of its plant expansion project. They've doubled the standard capacity to 200,000 units per year. GAC's Aeon plant now holds 52 patents covering a wide range of areas such as digitalization, new materials, and processes, including a really special type of battery. And I talk about that in the video I make about the Aeon. Now, upon completion of this latest factory update, the plant's production efficiency increased by 45% and its customization capabilities by 35%. Now, in 2021, GAC had their first full year for the Aeon vehicle being delivered, and they delivered 123,700 in their first full year of electric car deliveries. That's better than most legacy auto companies. So you can see here, this company that almost no one in the West has heard about is crushing it. Looks as though they'll deliver probably around 240 to 250,000 EVs this year. Next, we have Leapmotor. Leapmotor makes some incredibly compelling EVs, and I mean that seriously. I'm not just saying this. You should check out my video about the Leapmotor vehicle I did a review on. I'll put a link in the description below to that vehicle. For $40,000 US, the specifications are like a supercar. Insane. Leapmotor's deliveries. Leapmotor delivered 3,400 EVs in February. That's an increase of 450% year on year. But for context, to show you just how different December's are to February's, December's the month of the year in China, and February is the worst every year for every car company. Leapmotor actually delivered 8,000 EVs in December. And in fact, they delivered 8,000 even in January. So you can see how the Chinese New Year really kind of ruins things for the automotive industry and for most industries in China. Interestingly, on February 25, the company announced some interesting specifications, kind of Tesla-like, for its flagship sedan, saying it will be powered by C2C, cell to chassis, very similar to Tesla's new structural battery packs, kind of a similar concept, really. Now, this vehicle will be about 5 meters long, similar to a Tesla Model S, maybe a slight bit longer, and it will have a range of 700 kilometers using their cell to chassis structural battery packs. Speaking of Tesla, another car company has just copied Tesla as well. I'll get to those in a second though, but it's very interesting information about structural gigacastings. Now, Li Auto is one of the most well-known electric car manufacturers in China, even though they don't actually make electric cars. Well, they do. They make plug-in hybrids. They have a range extender engine, and you can run them, of course, on electric alone. But yeah, they're not my preferred vehicle of choice, being a plug-in hybrid. But the key reason their vehicles sell so well is because they make a big SUV, and there's not a lot of electric-only big SUVs on the market in China. They're coming soon, though. Li Auto delivered 8,414 vehicles, and that's for the one model. That's an increase of 266% year on year. However, in January, they actually delivered 12,400. So you can see they're poised for enormous growth this year. Since the start of Li Auto manufacturing the Li One, which is the only car they make at the moment, they've delivered 145,000 vehicles. As of February 28, 2022, Li Auto has 220 retail centers in China alone, covering 105 cities and 279 after-sales service centers and authorized sheet metal spray centers covering 204 cities. Next, we have Xpeng. I personally own some stock in Xpeng. I actually own a little bit of stock in NIO as well, but I have more in Xpeng. I believe Xpeng's CEO is a real true visionary. I'm a big fan of him, and I think he's one of the big 5 CEOs in the world. Of course, those include Jim Farley, Herbert Diess, and Elon Musk, and Wang Shanfu from BYD. That's my big 5. Xpeng delivered 6,225 EVs in February. That's an increase of 180% year on year. To give you some context though, they actually delivered 16,000 EVs in December last year and nearly 16,000 in November of last year. And Xpeng, for them, this February blip here is going to be, kind of a distant footnote in history soon. They're planning on delivering 300,000 purely electric vehicles in China and Europe this year. 300,000. That's their stretch goal. They're saying they will definitely deliver at least 250,000, but they're aiming for 300,000. Now, last year, they aimed for around 80,000 EV deliveries, and they actually delivered well over 90,000. This year, they're being a lot more aggressive and going for 300,000 vehicle deliveries. Now, the P5 is a Toyota Camry slayer. And I say that seriously. Check out my video about the P5. That car, that new electric car, is going to destroy the Toyota Camry. Costs the same as the Toyota Camry, but it's better in virtually every single possible measurable way that you can look at. Style, luxury, features, specifications, everything. Everything. I'm talking technology, just crushes the Toyota Camry. And they're planning on selling it as a world car. So good luck, Toyota. Next up, we have SAIC, Chinese state-owned company, who has some joint ventures with a number of companies, including Wuling, to make the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV the world's second highest selling electric vehicle. And also that joint venture is owned 40% by General Motors, not 33% as I previously reported. GM actually owns 40% of that JV. So when GM said that they made hundreds of thousands of EVs last year, well, technically, I guess they're kind of correct. Now, SAIC sold 45,270 new energy vehicles, of which most of those were electric. That's an increase of 48% year on year. However, SAIC actually sold and delivered 95,000 in December of last year. Crazy numbers. Now, in January, SAIC delivered 73,000. So you can see February is a significant decrease thanks to the Chinese New Year holiday. Now, new energy vehicle sales, most of which were EVs, like I said, accounted for about 15% of all SAIC sales in February. This is what SAIC is planning for 2025. They want to sell 2.7 million EVs in 2025. And if you add that to BYD's goal of 3.5 million, well, you've got 6.2 million EVs right there from only 2 car companies in China. I mean, that would be nearly 10% of the world's entire global auto market. And we're talking only 2025. Imagine what's going to happen by 2030. So the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV, one of the most popular EVs in the world, even though it's only sold in China, well, mostly anyway, sold 21,000 in February. So in total, in February, around 100,000 electric vehicles were sold. That's 675% more than the same month last year. But obviously, of course, this is the really slow month of the year for China. We're going to see probably a doubling of that number next month. And I would say probably a 5x of that number by December of this year. We don't have Tesla's sales figures just yet. When they become available, I'll publish those on the channel. In other news, important news, Hi-Fi, the most luxurious car brand in China. They sell EVs for $125,000 US, and they outsell every luxury automaker, legacy auto, doesn't matter who it is, period, at $125,000. That's the base price for their cars, and that's US dollars. That's a lot of money. They are considered the most luxury EV, period, available in China. Now, they have just started using die-cast technology very similar to what Tesla used and to what 5 other Chinese automakers have begun using since they found out that what Tesla's doing. Now, Human Horizons, the owner of the Hi-Fi brand, announced that it has rolled off the production line with a local part supplier an integrated large die-cast rear body structure based on a giant 7,200-ton die casting machine. By the way, that's from a Chinese company, not the Italian one that supplies Tesla, because a new Chinese company popped up providing similar things to the Italian company called Hydra or whatever they're called, and they lowered their prices compared to their competitor in Italy. This is just what they do in China. Copy you and then do it cheaper. In addition, in 2021, we've just learned that 180,000 new electric vehicle businesses were started. That means there are now 452,000 EV-related companies in China, with a significant growth in that number occurring mainly in the past year. There was a 52,000 increase in 2019 and 85,000 new businesses supporting the electric industry in 2020, according to the data. But as you can see, there's been a huge increase last year. 180,000 more new businesses have popped up. Now, obviously, a lot of that would be thanks to Tesla. A lot of that would be thanks to local electric car companies. It's insane. I just don't know how the West is going to compete with this. It's crazy. Now here's my second to last news story, and this is just as important as the last story. Both equally important. Both are going to transform the entire automotive industry, in particular the Chinese car industry. Why does the Chinese car industry matter? It's by far the largest car industry on the planet. Plus, it's well and truly the largest electric vehicle industry on the planet. More than 50% of all electric cars are sold in China. China is building an open source software community for the auto industry. And yeah, that doesn't include legacy auto. That includes companies like NIO, Xpeng, BYD. Now, the first meeting was held between all these companies who are basically colluding together to take over the global automotive industry. Yeah, I know, it sounds like I'm being negative. I'm not. I mean, they want to do it. Good on them. That's their plan. They should try. I mean, everyone should try. That's the whole point of being an entrepreneur, but, having a free market, right? So, Li Auto, Great Wall Motor, Geely, WM Motor, Zeekr, BYD, and many others all got together on February the 25th to decide on an open source platform that they can use in order to basically make their cars better, to have a global standard, to have a global Chinese standard. That's essentially what they're doing here. They're trying to make vehicles better by having open source software, having developers who can develop apps in the same way that Android works, right? The same way that Google works, where developers can come in and make apps. So the idea here is that people want to use their favorite apps. They want to have them be developed for cars. They want to make car infotainment better. In China, your infotainment system is one of the key issues with cars. In the West, it's not so much the case, I think, for a lot of people. But in China, that is probably the #1 selling point. And so therefore, that's one of the key reasons why legacy automakers are losing ground, because their software in their cars is inferior to what it is in most local Chinese cars. I don't say that as a person who's pro or anti-China. I say that as just pointing out the facts, or at least the facts as perceived by the Chinese people anyway. Now, finally, solid-state batteries. Yeah, Toyota is making all these ludicrous claims about 2025. They're going to have solid-state batteries in hybrid vehicles. It's just pie in the sky. Toyota has nothing to show for this so far. It's just all talk. There's companies like in America, like QuantumScape. There's other solid-state battery companies in the US who are actually producing products and giving data and showing us the information. Toyota, no information, no data, no nothing. All we know is they have made a small solid-state battery, but it's only small, and they can't get it to be any bigger because it won't work if they make it bigger. That's all we know. We don't know the data. So yeah, I made a video about that, about Toyota's claims, and I think they're bogus. I'll put a link in the description below to that video. However, there are multiple Chinese car companies right now building factories. One of them is building a 100 gigawatt hour battery factory that could supply 2 million EVs with solid state batteries. They've actually broken ground already. They're already building the factory to build 100 gigawatt hours of solid state batteries. Another one is building a 10 gigawatt hour solid state battery factory as well. Production on these buildings has already begun. So unlike Toyota, who is like in a lab making claims and not actually publishing the data, and then saying, oh yeah, don't worry, investors, we're going to have solid state batteries in lots of cars in hybrids in 2025. Unlike them, these companies in China are just being quiet, saying nothing, building the factories and getting the work done. Contrast that to Toyota and their marketing claims. Big difference, doing the work or just talking about the work. On that note, hope you have a great day and you enjoyed the video. Let me know if there's anything you want to see in these videos in future. I've tried to provide you with a kind of an update of everything that's going on in China, so you know all these car companies, what's happening with them. As you can see, their sales figures have gone up massively since the same month last year. In many cases, 400, 500, 600, 700%. Crazy numbers. But if there's anything else you want to see, let me know in the comment section below, or send me an email, a text, or a Facebook message, and I'll do my best to provide that. Have a great day. See you again on the next one. Bye-bye.